Hello, everyone. I see some people joining us. And as people are coming in, I want to invite you all to start thinking about today's topic. We're talking about codes, and more codes. And we have an upcoming webinar, How to Bill Insurance with Ease. So as you're thinking about this, please feel free to throw any questions you have for Lauren in the chat. If there's a topic that you want to make sure is covered, you can also throw that in the chat as well. Check on our participants here. Looks like we still have a few more coming in. All right. See, Dave's here. Got Laura. A couple more. All right, and if you're just joining us, like I said, go ahead and feel free to throw a topic or a question for Lauren in the chat if you have one. Last session, we covered how to get credentialed. So if there's a question that you didn't get a chance to ask last time, I'm sure you can throw that in the chat as well. All right. So I think we have quite a few here ready to go. So I think we're just going to jump in and get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Allison Kranz, and I'm speech language pathologist and program manager at SpeakSuite. And we're super, super excited to be here for the third part of our webinar series hosted by Miss Lauren Hastings. Again, if you're just coming on in, feel free to throw any questions that you have in the chat about billing or coding, and we will get to those questions as soon as they come up. And let's go ahead and get started. Before we jump into Lauren's content, I'm so thrilled and excited to introduce our CEO, Mr. Eli Singer, who's just going to give us a little bit of information and introduction to SpeakSuite.
Hi, thanks so much, Allison. Hi, I'm Eli. I'm the CEO of SpeakSuite. I just want to welcome you all to our webinar, Codes, and More Codes, and you're in for a real treat this evening. Lauren is an outstanding presenter. She's also got an incredible depth of knowledge in the space. And so, you know, as Allison was saying, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I know she's keeping an eye out on those, and she'll be quick to answer them. And just a quick minute or two on our business before we begin, for those of you who are new. SpeakSuite is 100% focused on building the most advanced tools to help SLPs and patients with articulation therapy. Our commitment to you, the people that use our software, is rapid and continuous improvement on our core product based on your feedback. SLPs are at the center of everything we do. Our aspirations are global. We want to take this product all over the world because we know there are so many people in need. And so when you work with us, not only are you helping your own business, your own students, your own patients, you're also helping us make a better product that can help SLPs all over the world. You know, your insights matter to us. And for those of you who haven't seen our product or are curious of some of the new features that are going to be dropping in the next couple of weeks, the middle of September, in the chat, you can find a link where you can book a demo with Allison. I'm sure she'd be happy to talk you through it, and SLP to SLP share with you her thoughts, that she's been a huge contributor in building this product. So I'd like to introduce Lauren Hastings. Lauren is someone we met at ACTA. Actually, we met first when we were talking with her when she was with the Georgia Speech and Hearing Association, but we met in person at ASHA when she was with NBASLA. And, you know, she inspired me, she inspired everybody on our team, and we're so thrilled to have the opportunity to work together. Lauren is an entrepreneur. She is a PhD student. She has an incredible knowledge from running her own private practice and figuring out billing, and she shares that knowledge with her community and all kinds of people who want to learn from her. And we're thrilled to have her present here today with us so that she can share her knowledge with all of you SLPs, the community who we are here to serve. So without further ado, Lauren, over to you.
Thank you, Eli. And I do want to add that when you're at conferences and you talk to people, definitely share your passions. As the old adage says, closed mouths don't get fed. If I did not share with Eli all the things I had going on, I would not be where I am right now. So make sure that when you are interacting with people at conferences, whether they have a booth or not, make sure you share what your passions are and what you want to do. All right. So, like Eli said, my name is Lauren Hastings. If you want to stay connected with me, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. For those of you who were not here the last time, I closed my private practice October of 2022 to transition to Birmingham, Alabama to start my PhD program. But I realize I don't like working for people. So I am in the process of starting my private practice here in Alabama. So I'm chronicling my journey. So definitely check out my YouTube channel for information on that. So let's recap our last session. 5 steps to get credentialed. First, check your mindset. You have to take off that therapist hat and put on that CEO hat, that business hat. Make sure you're not only following SOPs on Instagram, but make sure you're following entrepreneurs outside of our field, because I have truly gained way more knowledge from just general old entrepreneurs. So that's number 1. Number 2, conduct a market analysis. See who's in the community you want to serve. I know there's some people that want to stay in the community they live, but some people might go a county over. So find out who's in that area and what insurances they take, what services they offer. And then start getting your documents in order. So make sure you have that MPI, the individual and the organization one. Make sure you have that liability insurance. Also, research applications. Every insurance will require something different. I will say the government funded, like Medicaid and Amerigroup and CareSource, they usually want the same thing. But when you're looking at private insurances like Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, their process is a little different. So just make sure you research the applications and figure out which ones you want to take. And then also take your time and pick an EMR system. Do not take on insurance without picking an EMR system, because if you do it by hand, it's going to take you a long time. Okay, so if you don't have a lot of capital when you first start, I always tell people wait till you get about 5 to 10 clients, and then it will ultimately pay for itself. Now, I like to interact with whoever I'm speaking to. So take out your phones, scan this QR code, and I want you to answer this question. When you hear the word coding, what comes to mind? And you can put multiple answers. When you hear the word coding, what comes to mind? Charters for insurance, okay. Get some more. When you hear the word coding. Medical diagnosis, Medicaid, ICD-10 codes, okay. Treatment and diagnosis, all right. Okay, so let's distinguish the two, because I will have a third session about billing. So billing is the process of submitting the claim, right? But codes are all these interesting letters and numbers that help tell the medical staff like what you did. That's basically what coding is. All right. So 80%, and I Googled this, and forgive me, I did not put the reference, but 80% of medical bills contain errors. This is very unfortunate, but not only that, is it makes you, especially me, think about, okay, if this is true, then I need to know as a private practitioner what's going on. And then 2, I need to hire someone that is efficient enough to handle that. So the reason why I put this big X sign is that because you're sitting here and you're learning about coding, this will not happen to you. So this is the 1500 form. It doesn't matter if you have an EMR system, doesn't matter if you go on the insurance portal and fill it out by hand. And usually there's on their portals like drop down boxes, but this is the form you need to get acquainted with. Now it has 33 boxes. Do you need to know all 33? You do not. But just know if you decide not to get an EMR system, whether you don't have enough capital to get a software, you just want to be old school and fill it out yourself, this is the form that you have to fill out for every single session. Okay, you can mail it in or do it electronic through the EMR system. So mistake number one is really the only mistake that I will talk about tonight, is that when you get an EMR system, the reason why things still bounce back is because you haven't set it up right. And I'm going to slow down with this because I don't want to have your head spinning. So most EMR systems have our CPT codes, and I'll talk about what that is in a second. Just roll with me. They have our CPT codes. You go in there and you put how much you're going to charge for that code. So I'm going to take a dentist, for example, and then I'll use us as an example. A dentist might charge $300 for a cleaning, but for a filling, they might charge $150. It's probably way more than that, but $150, right? And so they will go into their system and put that in, and then send it to the insurance. I was about to say something else, but I was going to hold on to it because I don't want to go ahead of myself. So with us, with 92523, which is the evaluation code for speech and language evaluation, you will put your charge in. Okay. Now, what is a claim rule? All right. So when I first started my practice, I got approved for straight Medicaid first, and I was billing through my EMR system, and 30 minutes is 2 units because 1 unit is 15 minutes. Are you with me? Can I get a yes in the chat? Because I want to make sure I'm not going too fast. 2 units is 30 minutes. Everybody with me? Yes? Can I get a yes? Okay, I got a yes. All right, thank you. So when I was billing Medicaid, by the time I billed for that 5th session, they stopped paying me because there are some insurances now, actually a lot of them now, they look at units as visits. So when I was putting 2, they were thinking I had seen the kid twice. So this lovely claim rule right here, I ended up creating in my EMR system, and it basically says if the service is speech therapy and the payer is Medicaid of Georgia, and the code is 92507, which is the therapy code, and 92526, which is the swallowing feeding therapy code, then the units will go to 1. Does this make sense? Do you follow what I just said? I need to get like 3 yeses. Do I need to say it again? One more time. Okay. So because Medicaid look at units as visits, I needed to change it from 2 units, because it's 2 units for 30 minutes. I had to change it from 2 to 1. So Every EMR system is different. I use Fusion Web Clinic. This is a screenshot from the software. And we wrote a claim rule that says if the service is speech therapy, because they also have OT and PT for their EMR system, and the payer is Medicaid, and the code is either 92507, which is the therapy code, or 92526, which is the feeding and swallowing code, set the units to 1. Does everyone get that? Ooh, I got questions in the chat already. See? Okay, the chat was disabled. Okay. All right. So does everybody get that? Thank you for letting us know the chat was disabled. Okay. Any questions about that? I do not want to rush this at all. Any questions? Are you still processing it? And this happened to me too with Blue Cross Blue Shield about 2 years ago. They didn't, oh no, I'm going ahead of myself. Nope, I'll tell you in a second when I get to that slide. They switched it up on me too. And sometimes they don't send you, majority of the time, they don't send you a letter. You just have to figure it out, which that's what I did. All right, no questions? All right. Hope I didn't confuse you guys. All right, here we go. So there are 4 types of codes that you need to understand. So you have the diagnostic code, you have the CPT code, you have the modifier, and then you have the adjustment codes and reasons. Okay. Let me answer this question. So if the OTPT is on the same day and time, set the unit to 1. It doesn't matter if they're on the same time. This is based off of that code. So that's a good question. Let me back up. So with Medicaid, they allow 8 visits a month for a speech therapist, right? So let's say you have a kid that also has OT and PT. If they allow 8 visits as well, or 10 visits as well. It doesn't matter if they see multiple disciplines in one day. Now, one thing I will tell you is that read the manual when it comes to some of those private insurances. I know for sure there are some insurances that do not like ABA and speech on the same day, but PT, OT, and speech on the same day should be fine. Okay, that's a good question. So you said, so we only get paid for 15 minutes, even though we did 45 minutes. I don't know why some of y'all do 45 minutes, because the code is timed, and a time code, if you look up 2 units, 2 units is 1 unit is 15 minutes. So when people are doing 45 minutes, I mean, that's on you. But the insurance is only going to pay you what they have allotted for that code. No, no, that's not what I'm saying. So the question is, if the child had OT, PT services, then speech is only going to get 1 unit billable. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, and thanks for asking. What I'm saying is, you can still bill 30 minutes. You just have to change your units from 2 to 1. It's still going to be 30 minutes. But insurances look at units as visits. I'm going to say that again. They look at units as visits. So turning it from 2 to 1 is just saying they had 1 visit that month. Okay? All right. All right. So I'm so glad for this question, because this is why I separate billing and coding. Just, you got to understand the code before you're able to bill. Okay. So 4 types of codes. You have the diagnostic code, the CPT code, modifiers, and adjustment codes and reasons. So let's get into all of them. So ICD-10, that is box 21. That is where you're going to put the code. If you get a prescription and the doctor has put a code in there, that is the code you use, especially if that insurance requires an authorization. You have to use the code that's on the prescription because you have to upload the prescription in order to get the authorization. Okay, so there are all different types of ICD-10 codes. I believe we're about to move in ICD-11, but follow me on social media. I'll let you know, because I always like to go to the billing and coding session at ASHA convention because they have the most up-to-date stuff. Majority of the speech diagnostic codes are going to be in F and R. Now, our rare syndrome kiddos, they're going to have Q, but that's very, very rare. All right, so I always send everybody to ASHA, because even though it's kind of hard to find things on their website, I will give you the exact website on here. But if you go under or just type reimbursement, it should bring you to their reimbursement page, and they literally have all the codes listed for all of these different things. So for those of you who want to specialize in autism or AAC, they have listed all of the codes on the website for those things, and that goes in box 24. Also, here are just like the basic ones. So you hear me say 92523 a lot. Let me say this for the record. If you want to make more money, that's between you and God. But if I have seen people build 92523 and 92522 together. Now, if you get audited, that's between you and the auditor. But if you look at this description, 92523 is speech sound production and language. 92522 is speech sound production by itself. I have seen people build both of those at the same time just so they can make more money. So God forbid if you ever get audited, I hope you have a good reason to tell them, because each of the evaluation codes you can bill once every 6 months. Okay, once every 6 months. And be careful, because some of these insurances are being such a stickler that if you bill 1 to 2 days before that 180 days, they will not pay you, which is crazy. Because I would try to do it a few days prior, so that, especially if there's a kid that has an authorization, I didn't want to disrupt therapy. So I would test them a little bit before the 6 months so I can write the report and send it in to get a new authorization. So I wouldn't disrupt, but be careful. Okay, Laura, probably way jumping the gun here, but can we use 92526 for oral motor, or is it just for feeding and swallowing? That is a good question. I would defer back to the feeding and swallowing CPT codes, and at the end I'll click it and kind of go, and I'll come back to that. But I'm not sure. What I tell people, because I stick to the basics, always look up all the different codes and read the description. But at the end, if we have time, I'll definitely jump back to this and click on it and see if I can give you another code. But I feel like there is a code for oral motor, but don't hold me to it. That's a good question. All right, modifiers. So box 24. Yes. Box 24 has multiple boxes like A, B, C, D's, a whole bunch of them. So also in that line are modifiers. A lot of people like, ooh, what's modifier? So it's just another code to let them know what you are doing. So given some examples, two that are very prominent are GN. So that means services delivered under outpatient speech language pathology plan of care. HA for people who work with kids. There's also a modifier if you work with young adults. So like once they're over 21, you can't use HA. There is one for young adults, and then there's another one for the geriatric population. Well, I should say young adults / adults, and then there's one for geriatric. And then of course the one that made its appearance during COVID, or maybe it was already there and we just didn't know it existed. But for anybody who wants to do teletherapy, you will have to use GT. So that will go right next to the CPT code on that 24 in box 24. So you'll put 92607 for therapy, and then you would do GN and HA. And then sometimes there are insurances for evaluations. You would need modifiers. You remember I said I was jumping the gun? I was about to tell you my Blue Cross Blue Shield story. So when I first started with Blue Cross Blue Shield, they did not require modifiers, right? And then closed my practice in 2022. So it was either in 2020 or 2021, I started getting my claims rejected, and it said missing a modifier. I was like, so guess what I had to do? I had to go in my EMR system and just add that claim rule I showed you. I just added Blue Cross Blue Shield as the payer. Didn't have to reinvent the wheel, just added that to that claim rule. Okay, so get to know those modifiers. And I will tell you, in my course, I have a Bill Like a Pro course. I did upload a copy of the Georgia manual and the Texas Medicaid manual, because in those manual guys, I know they're kind of long, but all you need to do is go and find the chart where it lists our codes. At least that's how they did in Georgia. I don't know about other states, but in Georgia, they listed all our codes, how many visits they allowed each year or each segment for each code, how much they paid for those codes, and then they had a whole column of modifiers. So I didn't have to guess. I knew what modifiers they required for what code. So that's real important for you to do. Does billing vary for SLPAs versus SLP? I was wondering about this, especially when you talk about telehealth. So it depends on your state. If your state allows SLPAs in private practice, I know Georgia, they do not. And then you need to check the manual to see if they allow it, because this is why ASHA doesn't get involved, and I know it makes some people mad, but every state does things differently. So some allow SLPAs, some don't. So definitely look in that manual to see what the requirements are for SLPAs, but they would have to build under you. But just like I said, check that manual to make sure what their requirements are. All right, how you feeling so far? I want to see some reactions here. How you feeling so far? How you feeling on the scale? Maybe, are you indifferent? Feeling happy? Okay, that's a new one. I usually get the one in the middle. Get a few more to answer. How you feeling? And get 3 or 4 more people to answer. How you feeling? Okay. All right. How you feeling? Okay. Let me get 1 more. Okay. That face. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. It can be overwhelming. All right. So when you submit a claim, you will get back what it's called an explanation of benefits. Now, for those of you who have insurance through your employer, you are probably used to getting that in the mail, and it has, this is not a bill, right? Now, when you are the provider, they will send it, and then you will see, I don't want to say it's similar to the 1500 form, but I would say it's similar to the box 24. So they'll have the date of service, they'll have the code, they'll have the modifier, whatever you gave them, all of that right there. And then they will have a box that says allowable amount, amount charged, allowable amount, adjusted amount, meaning what they adjusted off. I'll give you an example in a second. Co-insurance, and then there should be a box with all the reasons on why they did pay you and why they did not pay you. Now, give you an example, being completely transparent. In the state of Georgia, 92507. Yeah, I don't know why I call it 92506. Anyway, 92507, too many codes in my head. 92507 in the state of Georgia, we are reimbursed $62.53. And so, but I would charge the insurance $85. Why did I do that? Because I heard that Blue Cross Blue Shield in Georgia pays more than the Medicaid rate. So I always encourage people to find out the Medicaid rate and let your charge add a buffer about $10 or $20. Why do I say that? So let's say, okay, I found out Medicaid rate for Georgia is $62.53. I make my charge $65 a session. But what if Medicaid's allowable amount is $75? Then I just lost $10 because if I charge $65, they're gonna pay $65. And that $10 just blew in the wind. Didn't even happen because that's how much I charge. So that's why I always encourage people to find out your Medicaid rate and then add a little buffer to it. So these are some of the codes and reasons I see happen a lot. And so like if you see a 15, that means your authorization number is missing. 16, it's lacking information. Another one, 29, this is so important, especially if you decide to get a biller. The time limit for filing has expired. Most insurances will give you, I would say 6 months to a year to fix something. And if you get a good biller or you just know what you're doing and you keep trying and trying and trying, you kind of can push the envelope with that. What does that mean? It is August 2023. If I had a claim from, I don't know, December of 2022 and I still haven't gotten paid, I can still keep fixing it or figuring out what's wrong with it and send it back. Okay. But usually after a year, they won't let you recoup that money. All right. Simple one, 206, MPI number is missing. And then D18, claim of service is missing, diagnosis information. Sorry, end of the day. Now, how did I know this stuff? Number one, because I have an EMR system and they connected to my clearinghouse, I could always click on my claim to see what were the reasons why I did not get paid. Also, too, if you're still getting paper EOBs, they will have a key at the bottom. So I know you probably think I'm great and I know everything, but I don't know everything. And so a lot of this stuff is at the bottom of the EOB, or y'all can just Google it, really, if it's not there. So I always talk about EMR systems, and about a couple of months ago, I decided that I should make a freebie, and I am going to put it in the chat because I say, oh, you should make sure you pick the right EMR system, but I realized you really know what to ask, especially if it's your first go around, you never build or anything like that. So let me grab this link. If you don't catch the link, you can find it in my link in Instagram. But just some questions I felt like you should know, and well, you should use, not you should know, because you don't know. questions you should ask when you're shopping for one. Like, don't, and I said this last time, don't pick the cheapest one just because it's cheap. Don't pick the one because they just big sponsors at Asha. Make sure that you yeah, I'm gonna make sure that one's everybody. Okay, make sure that you have you have some things in place. Make sure your EMR system has a clearinghouse. If not, you're going to have to find and set up your clearinghouse. If you decide to have the SLPA, make sure it has a sign off feature. Find out all the billing fees. I know people always running, I'm not going to name drop. Y'all gonna know what EMR system I'm talking about. But people always run into the ones that's $50 a month, but then they have all these add-ons. Might as well go to the one that is gonna cost you $150 or $200, because once you add them all up, you might be paying more. Are the codes already built into them? Just because the cheaper ones were created for psychologists or created for therapists in mind, if it is not started, or I won't even say started by SOP, if that company hasn't really researched our field, a lot of times you have to build out the speech part. Okay. What's another thing? How much support will you get? The reason why I know as much as I know is because my account person for Fusion, we just hit it off. And so those first couple months, I would call him and say, hey, can you look up another Georgia provider and look at my claim and look at their claim and tell me what I did wrong? And he did that. Now, I don't know if everybody would do that, but that's how I learned what I learned. So just make sure you ask all the questions. Make sure you shop around, because once you get going, it's really difficult to switch. Well, let me not say it's not difficult to switch. It can be a headache because they're gonna give you like this big file that you can take over to your new EMR. But if you plan on getting other employees or other disciplines in the future, definitely ask those questions and make sure that you have that. Okay, can you name at least 2 or 3 really good or credible EMR systems you can think of? I would say it's really preference. I like Fusion Web Clinic because I call it the Facebook of all EMRs. When you log in, you have the task manager on the side. My schedule's right there. I wouldn't have to click around. Not my former, because I'm working right now. The private practice I worked for before I started my private practice used Clinic Source, and I did not like it. I did not like it because I had to click around a lot to find certain things, whether it was the plan of care, how many visits we have left over. I just tell people, if you're going to be a one-man show for a while, then you need to pick an EMR system where everything is right there. Everything is in your face. And that's one thing I liked about Fusion. Everything was on the taskbar. So if I inputted my authorizations and the day they begin and the day they end, it will pop up, a reminder will pop up on the side when it was 2 weeks out to expire. So it made me think, oh, okay, I need to, work on retesting them and getting a new authorization. So it really is the preference. I can only speak for Fusion, but I just say it's a preference. So shop around. What are the red flags to look for in EMR shopping? This might be the best way to look at what not to go for. Red flags. Well, they all do the same thing. I just don't like when EMR systems nickel and dime you. So like I said, the ones that are cheaper, like $30 a month and $40 a month, I bet you they are not. That does not include, but actually I know for a fact that does not include billing. They do that as a marketing gimmick to get you to sign up with them. But just look at all those extra fees to see how much it is, because I will tell you, if you go to these EMR systems where it's like $30, $40, $50 a month, but then it's like an extra $30, $40 for billing, extra $5 to $10 for text reminders. When you go to somebody else and you're paying $160 a month or $180 a month, that's all included. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just, listen, do it like when you're shopping for a car. You're not going to walk in one dealership and you're going to shop for a car. No, you're going to research. So a lot of them, if not all of them, have a trial basis. So I tell people, shop around, do all the trials. Listen, do not have to commit to one immediately. You just need to figure out what is best for you and what works for you. All right. So which of these topics do you find challenging? I want you to rank them. 1 being the hardest, 5 being the easiest. Which of these topics do you find challenging? Let me get a couple of you guys to do this. Rank it for me, rank it. And if you do not want to rank it, you should see where you can ask me questions. Put in your questions for later. Let's see. Billing. Billing's definitely number 1. Yep. Let me get about 5 of you guys to do this. And 2 more. Billing seems to be at the top. Kind of get 2 more people. And I will actually go over explaining insurance benefits next time when we do billing, because you can't, well, you can bill, but you have to understand how to explain insurance before you do billing. Can I get 2 more people? All right, billing is number 1. Yep, that looks about right. I'm kind of excited that coding is at the bottom, so that means you've understood some stuff. All right, so if you want to learn more about coding and billing, I have a course called Build Like a Pro. If you use the coupon SpeakSuite, even if you are watching this on recording, it will still work. You will find a nice little percentage off of that. And why should you pay for this course? Because you are in this course. Well, y'all are just hearing me talk. In my courses, I have a lot of supplemental materials, forms I've used. So there's something you definitely should check out. Also, I do not know everything. I always defer to Asha. We pay all these dues. Let's make our dues work for us. Email reimbursement@asha.org. I have been asked before, does your course focus on Florida? No, my course does not focus on any state specific anything. It is literally general information. Like I said, in Georgia, we cannot have SOPAs in private practice, but you can in Texas, you can in the Carolinas, you can in California. So you have to just take the information and then apply it to your state. But still, I encourage you to look at those manuals, go in the section where it covers speech therapy, because a lot of those manuals are really, really big, okay? You can find more information about my courses or how to connect with me on heretospeakacademy.com. Do I have, oh, before I go to questions. So I want you to print out 1500 form and then kind of practice filling out a 1500 form. And that's another thing you get with my, in my course, I actually have sample 1500 forms from 4 kids that I've actually built. So you see which boxes you need to be aware of, and what those mean. And then just figure out how you're gonna bill. Definitely do not do it by hand. Definitely do not do it by hand. But see how the insurance portal, how theirs look like if you can afford an EMR system right now. But I will tell you, even if you have an EMR system, I will drop this gem on you this evening. Most EMR systems charge you to bill. So Fusion was or is 30 cents a claim. And so if you have a claim that you need to fix, I would encourage you to go in the insurance portal and fix it, because you get paid quicker versus fixing it in your EMR system and it has to travel all those different channels. Okay. Oh, someone's feeling smart. That's good. Are there any questions? Are there any questions? I tried to go as slow as possible because this is a really, really hard topic sometimes. Are there any questions? We got time. Do you need me to say anything again? Great. Awesome. And now you're ready to bill. Or at least talk about billing. But you have to understand those codes that will make or break you getting paid, not getting paid, end up having fraud. Please also look up codes you can build together. So last year I had the pleasure of sitting on the healthcare committee meeting at ASHA convention. Was rubbing shoulders with people at ASHA who actually answer that email reimbursement@asha.org. And they said our SLPs are getting in trouble because they're stacking codes. So if you're going to stack codes, make sure it's the right set of codes so you won't get in trouble. Okay. Right? And most of the time that's either in the manual or just email ASHA. They have people who, and I'm sorry, let me see if I can pull it up. They have different people, because it's in another presentation. They have different people for different states. And let me grab that. And I'm so sorry I didn't put it in here. And I will include it next time. I think it's called STARS. I think. I mentioned it when I was at Flasha. And give me a second because I can multitask. I saw another question. Oh, that's taking a little bit longer than I wanted to. Give me one. Oh, there's another one. We build multiple codes, and insurance companies are no longer telling us what codes are approved beforehand. Why not? Okay, let me read that again. We build multiple codes and insurance companies, multiple codes, and insurance companies are no longer telling us what codes are approved beforehand. So are you getting your claims not paid? I need some clarification on that. And if we have to bring you on the panel side to ask that, I won't mind doing that too. Sometimes. Okay. I would definitely check the manual for that, but you said insurance companies, so that's plural. Do you have ABA? Because I know insurances are sticklers for ABA and speech billing on the same day. Okay. Are you telling them 92523 or 92507? Oh, Lord. This might be a little bit better.
Hi, sorry. Can you hear me?
No, that's fine.
Yeah, so when we call, we put in all the normal speech codes. We tell them 92523, 92522, 92507, 92610, 97535, all the codes that we multiple bill for pediatric speech therapy. And they're telling us that they're not able to tell us if any of those codes would be covered under speech therapy services.
Are
And
you using Ability?
yeah, this is mainly Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, Aetna. They're like, yeah, so I'm like, all right, so did I just bring this kid in for an evaluation and hope you guys cover it?
So I have a question. Are you calling or are you using Ability? Because if you
Both.
put both, and what does Ability say?
Ability will give the codes, but the representatives will say that they're not able to give us that information. They don't know what codes are covered.
Okay.
Sometimes Ability tells us that authorizations are needed, and sometimes the insurance reps tell us that they're not. So we're running into that as well.
Okay. So is Ability telling you it's approved?
Yes.
Okay. I would lean on Ability because I did more home health, and I'm going to use myself as an example. In Ability, I realized they showed more outpatient, but it was still kind of in line with home health. So I would not call the reps. I know I should not tell you guys this, but I would not call the reps because the reps really don't know. I would go off Ability, and Ability, it was always either spot on or under for me.
Okay.
So I would stick to that because that's a computer.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to be more accurate than that rep.
The other thing that we would ask them too is if the multiple billing codes count towards one visit or if they count as multiple visits. And they would be like, oh yeah, we don't know that either. And I'm like, why are you guys answering the phone?
That's a good comment / question to remind me to tell you guys this, especially Blue Cross Blue Shield, because they have so many plans. What I used to do was when I figured out one plan in the EMR system, right, usually most of them right where you put their benefits, their deductibles and stuff, there's a note box. I will always list what that plan was. So whether me or my biller or whoever's helping me with that process, we would start to see a trend and kind of document it. So like how you say, you don't know if it's one unit, once you will notice the same people with the same plan are probably going to come see you. So if you start documenting that plan and what their requirements are, then it'll just make it easy on yourself. But I would not put my trust in the reps. I would put my trust in Ability. I'll give you an example. I had a Blue Cross Blue Shield kid. I had to pay parents money back. I hated it, but I had to. Blue Cross Blue Shield woke up one day after I had been seeing this kid for like 6 months, and they're like, oh, she's billing home health. That's a different set of money. Mom, you don't have to pay anything. And she had been paying me like her copay for like $20, $25, and I had to reimburse her that back. But sometimes they wake up and they realize what they did wrong. But like I said, I would lean more to whatever Ability is saying.
Okay, thank you.
But a lot of them, Laura, are leaning more toward one unit. I mean, I know I said I closed my practice last year, but I will tell you that almost all of them were leaning more toward one unit versus two. So,
well, we bill our speech as one unit, and that's why I was asking about the oral motor code, because we do oral motor therapy, so we were billing speech and oral motor, and so that's why we were calling to find out if they covered both of them in one visit.
Yeah. I would email Asha, but I also answers to Phil. That's feeding and swallowing. So that might not be under oral motor. This is CPT. Laura, put your email in the chat and then I will look that up for you.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
I saw it. I feel like I saw it. It's just so many codes. I just try to keep with the basic ones, but I feel like I always hear the people say they can't find things on Asher website. I am guilty of saying that as well. It's like you find it one day and then you go back and you try to find it again and you can't find it. So
well, we're even double covered because we have Raintree as our EMR system, and then we actually have a billing company that bills for us. So
okay, yeah. So that's good.
Yeah, that helps out a lot.
I would just say meet with them weekly. And
we meet with them all the time. They're actually coming up Thursday. We're in Illinois and they're in Michigan, so they're coming up for a quarter meeting.
Oh, okay. You only meet with them once a quarter? You don't get reports from them every week?
Oh no, we get reports from them weekly.
Okay.
We meet with them once a quarter.
Okay. So this is for everybody. If you're gonna do billing, the billing company, meet with them once a week.
Yep.
So you are watching your numbers because that's your name on those claims.
Yeah, we report, they report to us on Monday and then our leaders meet Tuesday morning to go over the numbers.
Awesome. All right. That's good. That's good. That's how I tell people do it if you're gonna do it. Thanks, Laura. Are there any other questions? I know everybody been a little silent. I know it's a lot. And look, Laura's been billing and she had questions. It's a lot. It's a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm guessing y'all are still processing the information.
Well, I just want to say that was really fantastic, Lauren. There's a lot to unpack, but great information.
Yeah.
If anybody has any more questions, feel free. Laura, thanks for sharing those questions. Those were great. Feel free to throw them in the chat. I'm going to share my screen just to remind us of the next session coming up. Right. So September 25th, we will have our final session of the series, Billing Insurance with Ease. So we talked about getting credentialed, we talked about codes, and more codes. And I feel like some of us may have questions next time as well. So make sure that you don't miss out on that one. If you have any more questions for Lauren, you can get to her at heretospeakacademy.com. And then if you want to learn more about SpeakSuite, feel free to go to our website, speaksuite.com, and set up a demo. We'd love to show you our new system. Also, I know it's early to talk about it, but we're going to be at ASHA. So if anybody else is, feel free to come find us. Lauren's going to be at booth 370. We'll be at booth 1141, and we hope to see you in person. How fun would that be?
I was just about to say, I'm going to have a booth too, and you put it already in there. Yes. Come see me. It's my first time being an exhibitor, so I'm really excited. So definitely come by.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. If there's no more questions, we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.